just introduce yourself?
My name's John Purtle. I'm a student counsellor at St Ignatius College and also a psychologist.
Hi, I'm Stephanie and I was a photographer for this project.
Hi, I'm Lauren and I was the model for this project.
So when I was thinking about what can I do, what can I make that can help people and educate people, I thought of the emotions because so many people just don't understand emotion very well. And I wanted to change that.
Emotion is something that enables other people to connect with each other. And I think from a survival perspective, that's really, really important.
How can I be alright?
Sadness is probably an unpleasant and painful emotion, often in response to a change that someone might have experienced in their life. And while it's unpleasant, it shouldn't be avoided.
I truly get sad when I don't feel like I live up to people's expectations.
I can't breathe.
Emotions generally last between 30 and 60 or maybe 90 seconds, so they're a short experience. They're based on chemical changes that happen in our brain. I like to think that mood is a sort of a layer that people experience underneath, and then emotion sits on top of that.
In my head, a breakup is like the most cliche temporary form of sadness. I just worked with that as being the motive for why you were sad. We got the men's dress shirt. The ring on your finger worked out just great. It looks like a promise ring, and it all just came together really well. When I was finding the inspiration for these shoots, I was a lot more inspired by things that weren't so literal. I really enjoyed working with the disco ball, the confetti, because it was so not sad, and that was the point. I wanted it to be a little confusing and show that realistically, when people are sad, there's often so much good in their lives. They just can't see it. Even when editing, all of the colours were desaturated. It was like the life was sucked out. Even your skin tone, I desaturated because I wanted you to almost blend in with your surroundings because they're not living, and when you're sad, you don't even feel like you're living.
The shoot really encapsulated that really well.
I can't breathe. When I wake up, I'm afraid somebody else might take my place.
Fear is a response to a situation that could probably be dangerous or even a perception.
Oftentimes when I'm anxious, it feels like water rising up my body. So for the fear shoot, doing it in water, I didn't even think about it before. It all made sense.
Fear was good because I actually felt like I was really part of that creative process because we were working together in that one more.
I know that they can to me. I don't like you.
The one thing that I really wanted to convey in the fear shoot was fight, flight, freeze. You know, the panic response.
Adrenaline gets produced. That enables someone to respond in those 3 different ways. So it provides an energy source for them to either run away or to fight a perceived or fearful situation, or become so overwhelming that they're not able to respond at all.
I think the best photo from that shoot is the one where you're like right about to go underwater, your eyes are covered by the fabric. That photo is what it feels like to be right on the brink of panic. I just wish that when I walk outside I didn't just see people that want to hurt me. I wish I just saw people. I'm home now, I had a panic attack, I'm exhausted.
Being me can only make me feeling scared to breathe.
When I was editing those images, I was really stuck. I realized I didn't like the blue. It looked too comfortable, and I changed all the tones and I made the water green. And I feel like the final images are a really, really good representation of fear. And that's coming from someone that knows fear really well.
I'm afraid somebody else might end up being me. Can see it from the way you're looking at me. You don't think I'm worth your time.
It's weird, I felt anger at multiple points over my entire life. Why did it take me this project to understand it? It really is red hot. We got you in the red that you're wearing now. And it can really feel like a mess that you have to clean up at the end.
And the string was good for that too because it got all tangled and all in my hair.
We wanted to highlight your vulnerability and frustration. We needed movement in there, and it was hard. It was a very dynamic shoot.
You can see when you treat me like that, when you treat me like that. It's pushing me harder.
Whenever I'm angry, I don't really express it in a public setting.
Often people are taught, or there's a societal norm regarding behaviour and anger. So in general, we want to be able to feel an emotion and we want to be able to express it, but in an adaptive and helpful way.
Anger is often expressed with aggression, but I think what people miss is that anger often hurts the person feeling it more than they can do any harm to other people.
Sometimes people who have a mood disorder and feel quite low, it's often not being able to express an emotion, and often that emotion is anger. It's just an emotion that needs to be understood.
Should've walked away 1 year ago when you said I wouldn't make it out alive. I only get stronger, I only get stronger when you treat me like that. Tell me what's the situation? I've been racking on my brain, just want some answers if I ask you, but I know you'll never say it to my face.
Disgust is the emotion I knew the least about.
There can be a disgust in relation to simple things like looking at a food and think that's repulsive. And there's also a moral disgust that also exists where people respond to something that's discrepant with their own values. From my perspective, people want to try and hide disgust because they don't want other people perhaps to judge their values or their moral code. However, in saying that, it's hard for people to disguise or hide that, because I think disgust is one of the things that's quite obvious on people's faces when you see it.
One thing that I kept telling you to do throughout the disgust shoot was to hold your jacket in. And even though you're in this setting, you've got the makeup on, the outfit, and you look so powerful, you're covering yourself, you're protecting yourself. And that's the whole point of why we feel disgust.
If something looks disgusting, it might be unhealthy and it might be dangerous for someone to consume. So there's a sort of survival sort of aspect related to disgust as well.
Tell me what's your allegation? You're accusing me of something. I don't wanna be mistaken. I'm just asking you to say it to my face. Say it to my face.
Cool. Final one.
Happiness hit her like a train on a track.
The emotion happiness, a lot of people would describe it as positive. I tend not to use that word, but it's a pleasant experience.
With all the other core emotions, it's the only pleasurable one. Everyone is constantly fighting for happiness.
And there's often a societal expectation to be happy and happy all the time. We know that's not possible.
That was the main thing that I wanted to convey from the happiness shoot, that happiness is temporary. I guess it was almost a bit of a satire. I wanted to show that we aren't meant to be happy all the time. We were made to feel everything and appreciate every emotion as it comes. We were shooting in front of a fence.
Or in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
We used a lot of different angles and we did use a lot of different props.
We used the balloons, we used the lights so that it could convey that. Balloons, they can burst, lights can be turned off, and happiness eventually comes to a close just as any other emotion.